All right, now we're going to do some Guardian review for the Dynasty set. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick spoiler. I don't think we're really using anything, but let's get into it. Yoji, Royal Protector. This was one of the first cards spoiled to us. He's definitely a UPF card, and there's been some suggestions that there might be a new format coming where this might be actually a very good card hero to play in this format. If it's like a team format, I could see that. I want to give you guys a little a little goofy thing I'm trying out, but I don't think it's extremely goofy. I think it's somewhat okay. You could just play this in Blitz and just play competitively with it and basically ignore his ability text and just say, oh, my special ability Yoji is I start at 22. It's whatever. Like like Valda has it where you start at 21, but Valda kind of makes you build a deck that might not be really efficient, or it makes it a little wacky. Yoji, you could just put straight up Guardian cards in and just go. But I wouldn't advise it if you're really trying to play competitively. Obviously, you probably know Yoji is not for you. So moving on from there. Season Savior. I was fortunate enough to get the Marvel on this one, but I'm not going to play it because when it comes down to it, when you equip it, you put 2 -1 defense counters on it. It has Battle Worn. So it's a Guardian offhand shield that blocks for 1. I get that you can take these off. We'll get to that. You can take off the -1 counters, but Steel Braid Buckler, I'm actually all about because this is another Dynasty was very good to commoner. This is another commoner equipment that can get used. But I really like Steel Braid Buckler because it's a like straight up like better card than Rotten Old Buckler, right? It blocks for 3 because it blocks for 2 and then 1. You know, that's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Take those. But you wouldn't play it outside of Commoner, I don't think. Maybe in Blitz. Maybe. Probably not. Okay, moving on. So Buckle. Buckle is gonna be one of the good cards, but I don't think it's the card. Yeah, next Guardian attack this turn gets +1 dominate, and when this hits a hero destroying equipment they control with -1 counter on it. So yeah, it gets you to dominate and it gets you an on-hit effect, but the on-hit effect has a caveat. You need their equipment to already have a -1 counter for it to be destroyed. I mean, this is a Mangle, right? But I almost just rather play Mangle. You know, Terra Sunders is the better type of these cards, where it's the dominate plus an on-hit effect. I don't think Buckle's getting played. Maybe a few times, but I mean, Mangle didn't get played, and there's a reason for it. And it's because when you're dependent on a equipment already having a -1 counter on it, it's kind of meh. Never Yield. This one's interesting. Again, I don't think you play it. At the start of your turn, destroy Never Yield. If you have no cards in hand, draw a card. If you have less life, you gain 2 life, which is kind of cool. And if you control less equipment, then remove a -1 counter from equipment you control. That's also pretty cool. So, I mean, Never Yield is an action. It's an aura. I'm sure there's aura builds out there. I haven't seen them yet. I haven't been able to, put them out there yet. The aura builds, I don't think, are quite there. So, Never Yield, I don't think is really a good card. Imposing Visage can bring it out, which could be kind of cool, but I don't know. Let's say you can trigger all effects, then you just come in with a hammer, so you swing in for 4, because like assuming that you draw a blue card, because if you don't draw a blue cards, you're just gonna have to arsenal one. But I mean, gaining 2 life, removing counter, so it's kind of like you gain 3 life. It's okay, I guess. I don't know. I'm not huge into it, guys. I really am not. It's a blue pitch. I will say both these are blue pitch, and that is good for Guardians. So those are the only majestic under Season Savior. Yeah, there it is. I think that covers it up. We'll just go over to comments now. Shield Dash. It's a little Guardian Defense action, 3 for 6. or a 3 for 4, which obviously is just not good. So you probably only play 3 for 6 if you do play this card, because I don't think you necessarily do. The Guardian offhand with 1 or more defense is defending this chain link, defend, or deals 1 damage to attacking hero unless they discard a card. It's kind of cool. That's all I really have to say about that. It's kind of cool. But yeah, nothing spectacular. I wouldn't run it. I think even unmovable, I think it's just better. I understand you don't get the 1 little damage, but I don't think you need to get tricky with Guardian. I think you just need to block efficiently, and I think unmovable will do better for you. Blessing of Patience. Again, this is an aura. This one's a little easier to get out with like Imposing Visage or other stuff. If there's an aura build out there, please send it my way. I really want to know how it's played or how it's built, and I would love to play it, but I could see this in an aura build. As of now, I'm not huge into it, just because it's an aura, so it's your only action. Gaining 3 life, it's whatever. But the fact is that you have to pay 1, so that's the part to say. If it was a 0 cost, I would actually be okay with that, to be honest. A 0 cost sigil that blocks for 3, it's actually pretty good. Okay, Shield Wall. This one's worth considering. It says 6 for 7 unless you control a shield, which Oldhim does. Bravo can too. Then it becomes a 6 for 11, and at that point it starts to become, toggable. It's like, hey, should this be, something we put in? And really what we have to look at and compare it to is Staunch Response, which when you pay the extra cost is a 6 for 11 is 6 for 10, right? Yeah, because it's 6 for 10. So this is an improvement over that, but I think you give Staunch Response the nod, just because Staunch Response has the option of blocking it for 2 for 7, which is great numbers right there, or a 6 for 10, where this one is basically 6 for 10. I like that more. That Staunch Response gives you that flexibility. So I think when it comes to Staunch Response and Shield Wall, I think you go Staunch Response. I really do. The blue version, which is like a 6 for 9, it's blue. I guess you can run that and Staunch Response blue. That's not terrible, honestly. That's probably the best Guardian card, the blue Shield Wall that got printed here. So if you're gonna play a Guardian card from Dynasty, play blue Shield Wall. I think that's it. It's common. Reinforced Steel. I guess there could be a deck that really makes this Season Savior work, but it would run Reinforced Steel, but I'd rather just use it on Stalagmite and just give him more Frostbites. But then again, like, I still wouldn't do it. Like, if it was a 0 cost, sure, yeah, let's do that. That's awesome. But the fact that it costs 2, I'd rather swing at them. And then finally, Withstand, an instant. It's an instant that's like a 2 for 6, basically. That's actually good numbers. The only qualms I have with that is that 2 for 6 is okay, and 2 for 4 is not. So you really have to really run red. So it doesn't pitch for blue, which kind of sucks, and it doesn't block. And I think that's where this card is like lost its points, basically. I think this card has potential, but instances just don't block. That's just a thing in this game, which is, it's fine, makes sense. And yeah, I would rather play the Guardian instant that prevents just like damage, because then that does good against wizards and whatnot, and arcane damage. Where this is just like an additional block, I would rather this be a reaction so I can block with it as well. But okay, so there it is. That's the Guardian stuff. I think the best card is Blue Shield Wall, and that's where I'm at. So maybe we'll see Yoji used in the future, and that would be pretty fun. But until then, let's just stick to the Guardian cards that we already have, and I think Oldham's still great in the meta. So